MK with Stretch the Sketch today, where we take a 12 by 12 sketch and we stretch it across a 2-page layout, or we shrink it down to anything but a 12 by 12. This is the sketch that I will be trying to follow today, and I'm also still playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, so this is the sketch for day 20 as well. I have a couple photos of a helicopter that was our rescue helicopter here in town. I also have a few cut files from the Not Just for Boys Kit Club, and then a bunch of random things. I have some brads from, I think, a Teresa Collins kit from many years ago, stamped leaves that I fussy cut out, these die cuts that I really didn't like, so I actually mixed media'd them on the background. I have that video over on my Facebook page. If you guys want to watch that, it was a Facebook Live, by the way. I have some strips of paper that I cut from a pattern, a page book. What is that called? A paper stack. And then I have these 49 and Market Anywhere papers that were left over. I really want to use this teal side. And then this gorgeous piece of paper is from Flight, I want to say 2175 or 1275 from Paper Phenomenon. I know it's Flight and then a number after that. I do not know. So I am going to cut this down to 9 by 12. 9 by 12 is a brand new pocket page or page protector that I have introduced into my albums as of this year being 2022. So I'm super stoked. This will only be the second layout that I have created for a 12 by 9 layout, and I want to see how challenging it really is because, it's a little different, and sometimes new things are different, or are challenging, I should say. So the first thing I thought I was going to do is back my photos twice, but then I realized that I have a pattern paper for my base, but then I don't have that large paper for where the borders are supposed to go, as well as my photos are supposed to rest on. So I'll come to that problem later. Right now I'm kind of, like I have my blinders on. I'm only worried about getting my photos matted. And then I realized that my photos, I think, are the same print. There's nothing different about them. So why am I documenting a helicopter that I took from my office window? Because this was our rescue helicopter. It was the helicopter that, for the mine sites, if you could not be transported by ambulance or the situation was so critical we needed faster transport, this was the helicopter that came to our rescue. Since then, this helicopter has had a facelift and now is black and red and white instead of just white with the EMS symbol on the side. It does not look like this anymore, but this was the helicopter that goes to the mine sites and helps critical patients get to the hospital faster. So anyways, just wanted to, share that with you guys and why I wanted to document it, because things change rapidly. When I say rapidly, to me, I blink and a whole year is gone. I just have no clue, and I feel like I didn't do anything for that entire year. And so when I took this picture, it took me a minute to realize, oh my gosh, this helicopter doesn't even look like this anymore. But I didn't realize that, and this picture was only taken in 2019, and since then it's got a facelift over the last 3 years. So it just was kind of one of those things that made me think that, it changed, and I didn't even realize what it used to look like because, it's our new norm, right? So anyways, I am trying to figure out what I'm going to do for my block of paper that I missed. I didn't even get anything, but I really, really, really wanted this blue paper to be, or this aqua paper, I should say, to be like my main focal paper. I did not want it to be hidden. I didn't want it, anything, but I have this ginormous circle cut out of it. So what do? Well, right now I am trying to build my corner cluster around so that way I fill in the circle. And right now it looks really good, but I can still kind of see it behind the helicopter. Do I back just the helicopter? How do I fix this? How do I make this work for me? Because I do kind of like it, especially with that corner flower coming up underneath the helicopter and so on and so forth. I am going to take that striped border. I decided not to use the compass border, but the striped one instead. I'm going to cut that down to size to where it just fits on the block of aqua paper, and then cut it in half so that way it's not so big and bold on the top over there. Plus, I did have enough to go across the bottom, but I just felt like it was too thick for the size of my photo. And then, of course, my title is just going to be in the moment. And it's on vellum, so I have to strategically place that as well. So next, what I'm going to do is try and fix my corner piece, which I have this left over because I decided not to double back my pictures. I have all these cut pieces, and I thought, oh, well, I could put it underneath and it doesn't look so bad. And then with the stripe going on and everything else going on, oh, it's going to look great. Absolutely, I can make this happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up piecing my corner together. And by the time that I add everything to it, not a big deal. Nobody will even notice. I did take away one of the photos because, like I said, it's definitely something that I felt repetitive. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have just kind of doubled my photo. It would have been okay, but I was trying to stick with that huge 4x6 photo in the center. I'm ignoring the two little 12x12 or 2x2 photos on each side. And I'm actually taking the entire left side of the sketch out of the sketch. I'm only concentrating on the right side. And most of that is because where this layout lays, inside my album. And so focusing on the right side definitely helps because it will be a right side page. If that makes any sense. I know it's a lot to think about. It's just one of those silly things that comes to mind when I think about things like that. So because this striped piece was a little on the, what should I say? Because it's a little on, oh golly, help me out. On the skinny side, I wasn't able to cut out with my paper trimmer. So I went ahead and I just took my ruler and my X-Acto knife and cut it down. So easy peasy. I did take a few hot minutes and measure down where my center point was. So that way each piece was the same width. I did that as well. So here's where I'm going to fix my problem with my paper. Now I do have to say when I end up piecing all of these together, just laid down like that, it actually looks really good because that's the kind of paper that it was like a collage of postcards. And then, of course, I start adding washi tape. Now, here's another great example of how I use washi tape. I struggle with using washi tape on the fronts of my layouts. I use them on the backs of my layouts. I use them to hold die cuts in places when I'm using a manual machine. I use them to, stick notes. I laugh because this is funny. I use them to stick notes on my kids' projects. Like if they left something out, I would stick a sticky note on and put it at their place setting at the table. So that way they know what it is, and then they just read the note and see what to do with it, type of deal. I don't use sticky notes. I've never liked sticky notes. It's just something that I just do not like. And so here I am using washi in place of a sticky note. Isn't that interesting? I never realized that until I said it out loud. And that's why it makes me giggle. So anyways, I decided to use all three of these pieces for the back of my photo, just to kind of give it an interesting photo mat other than just a piece of paper behind a photo, which is what all photo mats are. This is the back side of my base piece, and I thought that it was great because it adds that little dark interest that the base piece kind of also adds to it. Plus I brought in the black where I had mixed media, the back of die cuts that I wasn't interested in using, but now that they are in a different form with more interest, I'm able to use those a lot better. And like I said, I do have those on a Facebook Live over in my over on my Facebook page. If you guys want to see how I created, the mixed media on the back of a die cut that just wouldn't work for me. So it's a series called Making Your Embellishments Work for You is what it is. I started the series, I want to say around Christmas time, and then my internet went to garbage, and I've been struggling ever since with internet, so I have not been able to do a live, but I do have a few more weeks left of how to make your embellishments work for you that I am wanting to finish. I just need to get my internet under control before I can continue doing that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build up my clusters along the cut line of my aqua paper. So that way it's all, that cut line is kind of hidden. And by the time that I get everything, all hooked up, I definitely wanted the helicopter kind of sort of an angle rather than straight across. So that definitely helps. The curvature of the helicopter definitely helps with the cut line. But I started putting everything around, and because of how flimsy everything is, I just really needed to stop for a minute and do something a little different. Now, this larger die cut that is also mixed mediered on the back is it was a pot or a jar with flowers in it, and again, not my style. I'm sorry, Vicky Booten. Your colors are gorgeous. I love your papers. The die cuts just aren't my style, and I struggle with things like that. And so when I buy a die cut pack that has a few pieces in it that does work, I actually try to use the pieces that don't work in an unconventional way, you guys. I'm definitely not a Calvin ball player. I don't add random things to my layouts. Well, yes, I do, because here I'm adding leaves and things, especially a blue leaf. How does that add to it? Oh my gosh, I am an oxymoron. That is awesome. So basically, what I was trying to say is that the flowers aren't my style. I thought I was a flower girl. I love the look of all the flowers. I love window shopping in all the stores for all the flowers. And every time I buy them, it's like, oh my gosh, I really love them. The colors are gorgeous. They're going to go great. But they're not me. They're not my style. They're not easy for me to use, right? It's like a triangle. Triangle is very hard for me to use as well. Why? I don't know. It's my Achilles heel, I guess, is what we'll say. But yes, that is what it is. And then when I take an image like this flower pot and distress it in a way, then I am able to just use the outline of it. And it's an interesting shape. Now it's got texture and a color that's more me. It works for me. And I do have to say, it kind of looks like the helicopter is on smoke, like it's smoking on fire. Once I put this down and put the helicopter back on top of it. But when I add the tickets and everything else, it definitely takes away the smoky look of everything. I was just trying to add a black element into my clusters. But once I put the helicopter back, look, it looks like it's on fire. But the tickets and the leaves definitely help with that. Now, these tickets came, they came from a kit that is probably several years old. I do not subscribe to kits anymore. After the last few that I received from the Not Just for Boys, actually I had 5. I know, 5 kits. And I found out that I just wasn't reaching for them as much as I reach for my categories. And I struggle with, as soon as I get a kit, break it apart and put it into my categories. I feel like, to be respectful, I should keep the kit together until there's very few pieces left, but try to work with it as a kit. And after I reached 5 kits and went through them and split them up in between my categories, I realized I don't think I'm going to buy kits anymore, because of the fact that what is the point of someone doing all that hard work for me to just separate it and put it where I want it to begin with? So that was that's my thought process and how I work on layouts. And so, yeah, I just decided that, I'm kind of done with subscribing to kits, and just see where it goes, at least this year. If I miss my kits, or if I feel like there is going to be a kit out there, which not just for Boys Kit Club, it was perfect for me. It really, really was. I loved everything about that kit, you guys, every single kit. But like I said, I struggled reaching for the kits. I never made myself reach for the kits. I even have this little bin that is like a 3-step up thing, where all my kits stayed. So, and it was out more than my categories were. So it definitely was one of those things that it was easily accessible. I didn't keep them in a box on a shelf far away. They were right there in my face, but I never reached for them because they were so random. Even though they definitely had categories to them, but they weren't my categories. And like I said, I ended up just taking them, splitting them up between all my categories. And now the stuff is getting used, but I'm just not sure if that's what I want in a kit type of deal. I'm not sure, you guys. Like I said, I'm taking a break for the year, and then I'll revisit it and see if I miss it or whatnot. For that, actually, I'm taking a break from purchasing. I am purchasing tools if I need them. I'm purchasing, like definitely repetitive supplies or consumables. That is for sure. But I kind of want to see the kind of dent that I want to make in my stash if I just take the year off. I know that there's several other scrapbookers. They take months off. There's one I think she's on her 3rd year of not purchasing. So that would be kind of cool. But I'm curious. I am curious to see what kind of dent do I make in my stash, because I'm destashing all the time. And I don't know if I'm destashing because of the fact that it's, so old that it's in my stash, or how did I get that stuff to begin with? How is it that every year I have more stuff to destash? And so I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to get that answer first before how much do I use up within a year type of deal. So anyways, I'm taking these uber old, like I said, they're Teresa Collins brads that I had. She had them on a travel kit. And so I am just adding them on to give me some more of that red color. In the tickets, the numbers up across the top are all red. And so I kind of wanted to add a little bit more, like it was intentional, not the tickets are the only thing with the red. So I picked a brad that says, I think it says, "Here we go," and then a couple red arrows, and then another one that was a red chevron. And so I'm just kind of scattering them around so that way the red pieces are throughout the layout rather than all clustered in one little spot. So it definitely looks intentional adding the red. And I like it because the helicopter is still white. And so that's why I left my die cut white as well. But then it's got that one tiny little red logo on it of the EMS symbol. So I really like that as well. Also too, I'm going to go ahead and take my washi tape again and use it on the back side of my layout. And I do this, thank you, Sandy. I do this so that way when I put it in my page protector, it softens the prongs for one, so that way it doesn't ding up the other page behind it. But then also it allows me to slide the page in the pocket a lot smoother as well. I'm not getting hung up on all the little prongs, especially when they're all not right next to each other. Sometimes when I do a cluster, there's 3 or 4 prongs all in one cluster. These ones are all pretty fairly spread out. Pretty fairly. Last thing I'm going to do for this extremely long video is to splatter a little bit of black so that way the background gets pulled back forward in order to, make it all look a little bit cohesive. But this is my layout for today. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, especially when this turned into such a long layout. But I wanted to leave the entire process in just so that way you guys get an idea of how to get your supplies to work for you, even though you don't really have a full sheet of paper that you need or the exact embellishments and things like that. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed doing this type of layout. It's a great challenge for me as well as for anyone to try. All right, be sure to check out everyone else that is hanging out with Stretch the Sketch and playing along. All of their video links will be down below, as well as everyone that is playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. And all of the creators of the sketches will also be listed down below by the day that they are, like this sketch went with this day and this is the person that created it. All right. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and I will check y'all later. Bye.